Good afternoon. This is Bob Fielder and Randy Simpson. Appreciate everyone coming out this afternoon. Today we're going to be talking about moving beyond SBIR funding. Just a little bit of background as why we're putting this together. As of course, we've all been tracking the SBIR program is up for reauthorization, and it looks like it's going to be delayed for some unknown amount of time. The guidance we have from SBIR.gov and the other agencies is that projects with existing funded periods of performance and obligated funding will continue on, but there won't be any new projects, and there won't be any new extensions or follow-on phase twos or second year phase twos, that sort of thing. So only the projects that are obligated as of September 30th. Will continue on if the program is not reauthorized. Some of the proposed changes are, again, as you've seen probably, are going to require a more rapid transition off of SBIR funding and into more either acquisition funding or developing commercial products. And this, of course, is affecting a large number of small companies, and we want to be part of the solution. And so that's that's the reason why we put this presentation together, is to look at non-SBIR funding opportunities, both from the perspective of what kind of strategy should you take when looking at non-SBIR funding, and looking at specific opportunities that are out there. Randy's got quite a few slides on some specific funding opportunities they may or may not be aware of. And we will put out slides after the end of this presentation. So you don't have to worry about taking detailed notes. All right, so some strategies to leverage your phase or your prior SBIR awards. This is an area that is very underutilized and certainly less understood than most. But according to the SBIR rules, new phase 3 funding can be applied to prior SBIR awards, either phase 1 or phase 2. Regardless of how far in the past they've been, or what agency funded the original projects. And we'll talk more about this in here in just a second. But again, this is enabled by the SBIR policy directive, and it's one of the key advantages of SBIR projects is this ability to have sole source phase 3 contracts based on prior awards. And really the goal of this is to bridge the gap between a phase 2 and a phase 3, this reachback phase 2, the reachback phase 2. So some characteristics of reachback phase 2. First of all, there's no time limit. So if a company has had a project back in 1990 or as far back as the beginning of the program in 1982, those historical program projects can be used as contract vehicles for future phase 3 funding. They're not competed. So the wording of the policy directive is that to the extent practical, if an agency can contract with a small business that develops technology, then they shall contract with that business that develops the technology on a non-competed basis. And what some of the key benefits here are, well, the primary key benefit is the streamlined process for getting funding turned on from an acquisition program to the small business. And there are a number of sub-benefits within that we won't go into. But the upshot of the bottom line is if you have prior SBIR contracts, you can utilize those as a contract vehicle to address current opportunities that don't have a contract vehicle. Okay, so the process to go after a reachback contract will be first to well, first of all, you have to identify a need, an addressable need that has funding, and typically this would be applicable to something that doesn't have a contract vehicle associated with it. Like, for example, you have a good contact at NavAir, for example, who has a need for a technology that you developed on an SBIR contract, but there's no contract vehicle to meet that need. Your prior SBIR contract can be used as that vehicle. So you want to first work through your TPOC or the SBIR technology manager, depending on where your best contacts are. and then match your technology to that need. So the clause states that the phase 3 contract has to be an extension of or a derivative of that existing contract. And then finally, to execute the contract, GSA now has authority to write and execute phase 3 contracts, and they've gotten a lot more streamlined with how they do that. They can typically get contracts executed within 4 to 6 months. In fact, GSA has a program right now where they're actively trying to improve that process further. And we're planning to meet them in DC here towards the end of September. So one of the things that TechOp has done to help facilitate this is we've developed a database of our clients' prior SBIR awards. Some of them have dated back literally to 1983 in our database. So we downloaded all of the award data from SBIR.gov, and then we apply a proprietary search algorithm, which will then match keywords from a current opportunity to those prior SBIR awards. So, for example, let's say we encounter a good contact at NavAir who's got a specific need. We can put some keywords related to that specific need into the search tool and quantitatively match the relevance for those prior SBIR awards, and then pull those out and present those to the NavAir contact. So that's the way that we're utilizing, or it's a tool that we're utilizing to help our clients get connected with those federal programs. All right, so now we're going to jump into, so those are just a couple of strategies for utilizing